little bit of some busting in the background. Um, it's because the thunder. So we've got some thunder and lightning going on, but hopefully the internet will remain good. So, all right. See some more East Coast over here, Indiana, Florida, Maryland. All right, awesome. Okay. All right, so today we are so excited to be a part of the Teaching and Learning with AI with the Learning Revolutions event. We're so excited to share with you some of our thoughts and ideas today. And we're going to be talking about teaching beyond the tech, exploring the durable power skills that students will need to succeed in the age of AI. Okay, and I'm Ashlee Russell again. I also have Tina Garrison here with me. Tina is also my mom, so we're a mother-daughter duo. So glad to be here with y'all. Make sure that you're tweeting out today using hashtags that you see there at the bottom, Teaching and Learning with AI, Learning Revolution. If you want to chat, as you guys are already doing, you guys know how to do that. Any ideas that y'all have along the way, please feel free to throw them in there, because we wanted to title this presentation Exploring the Durable Power Skills, because we want to come from a point of curiosity today, and we want to explore these power skills with you. You may hear me use the term durable skills and power skills interchangeably, but we'll get into what we mean by that here in just a minute. But please be a part of the conversation. We'd love for that. This is just a reminder for me to make sure that we're recording the session, and we are. The session is being recorded. And we're sponsored by the futureofai.org, Artificial Intelligence in Education Libraries. And here we have the Professional Productivity with ChatGPT and AI Learning Revolution Bootcamp online. So check that out. We have Hepler Consulting on there as well. And now a little bit about us, your presenters. So I will be doing most of the talking. Ms. Tina will be doing most of the managing of the chat. But we, as we said earlier, we are a mother-daughter duo. We have a combined 45 plus years of experience in education. I've served as an instructional coach, a lot of different leadership and PD roles. Currently, I work part-time teaching special education, ELA, so writing, reading. I just can't get away from working with kids. I love that. So I'm at a middle school doing that, but I'm also have an L&D company, so working on learning and development. I do AI literacy with not just schools, but different organizations, one of which being the U.S. Army. So that's been interesting, just sharing AI literacy with everybody. Ms. Tina has served as an AIG consultant and a professional development facilitator. She boasts over 30 years of educational experiences. She's always been on the edge of tech practice. And she actually just retired from teaching this past year. So we'll give it up for her. And so she's working with me on this venture, and we're doing a lot of AI literacy together. So, but we both started as classroom teachers, and we just have a passion for serving and supporting teachers in their practice. We mostly work with K-12, but of course in higher ed as well. We just have a passion for good teaching. So we hope that you'll get something out of today that you can carry back with you. All right, so setting the purpose for today. We want to set a context for durable power skills in an uncertain future. So as you know, with the development of AI, we don't know what the future will look like, but we do know that there's some skills that will be very important no matter what. Also a basic understanding of durable skills in the context of an AI-powered world. So as we talk about these skills, we're not necessarily saying that you need to have these skills when you're using AI. You do, but also being able to navigate an AI-powered world. So how do you navigate all of the other things that will change as a result of AI being such a big part of our world? And then also, let's explore ideas for teaching and building durable skills in learners. All right, so we want to start out, set the stage. We have a clip here. This is a video from the ASU GSV Summit, the air show. Did anybody attend the air show? Look in the chat here. I think it was back in April. But it's really neat. It kind of reminds me a lot of the ISTE conferences. They have a lot of different sessions and things, and a focus on AI and technology. So this is a panel discussion from the air show that I'm just going to play. It's 40 minutes long, so I'm not going to be playing the whole thing. I will at the end. You'll have a link to the video library from the summit, but I will play just a couple minutes just to set the context. And Miss Tina, if you can just let me know, make sure that the sound is good and that you can hear it on your end.
Around how AI can't do that, right? Humans can do that. And there's been so much in the news about a lot of angst, right? People are unsure, will AI take over my job? Will I have a role? Employers are trying to figure out how do they balance incorporating AI and automation with human capital. And so, Allison, I'd actually like to get your thoughts around with this angst and things of that nature. What specific ways do you think power skills really contribute to individual success and organizational success when you're trying to navigate AI?
Well, I would start maybe by building on, I think, some of the commentary so far, and honestly, in almost every ballroom at this conference is primarily around the corporate workforce or an information workforce, the white collar workforce, whatever name you want to give it. And one of our observations has been, given that something around over 70% of our learners are first generation, is there's a whole spectrum of power skills or durable skills. And for first generation learners, for frontline workers in particular, a lot of those power skills actually have to do with time management, with goal setting, and with sort of how to access and use social capital, with mindsets around learning. And so it's a whole range of things that I think oftentimes we don't consider as power skills. We take them for granted, but tens of millions of people in this country will require them to sort of adapt to the change that's coming around automation and augmentation of work. And so when I think about sort of how does this help individuals, I'd say the most important thing, and the thing that's particularly differentiated about this moment in time, is the way in which it helps them continue to learn and adapt as their jobs are automated and augmented away. Some of the research that has been both an opportunity and has also been frightening to me, it shows 20 to 30% of hours worked across the world will be automated by technology over the next decade, but you're somewhere like 13 or 14x more likely to lose your job if you make less than $38,000 a year.
Okay, I'm going to pause that right there. Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on what she just shared in that panel discussion? And I'll give y'all a minute to think time, because I know it takes a minute sometimes to get your thoughts together. But what do you think? We're talking about power skills and durable skills, and she's talking about certain jobs will be automated away or augmented. What does that mean for the future of our students and how we need to prepare them for the future of the world? Mhm. Mhm. Catherine, I will get to that in just a minute. We will be talking about durable skills in just a minute. Fear and uncertainty is real, is what Nana's saying. Public library workers and the public they serve are scared. Gavin, it sounds like a widening of the chasm between those who have and those who do not. I agree with you on that. I worry about that. That's something that concerns me. It's a different sort of digital divide. Yes, Nan, I agree with that 100%. Absolutely. Layla says she's worried about quality. We assume that all kids coming up are getting enough of a background in technology to be successful. David says time for education to pivot to media information literacy and durable competencies. You guys have so many great ideas, and you're absolutely right. Not everyone comes to us. A lot of these skills, and I'll go to the next slide. That way we can address what exactly are durable skills. Someone.
And so what that means is actually power skills.
Sorry, guys. So somebody asked that. So a durable skill remains relevant and useful across various contexts and over time. And when we think in terms of AI literacy, it's about half technical skills and half human skills. So some of those human skills are going to be the durable skills necessary to use AI with efficacy. And one of those skills is critical thinking, being able to think critically about how to prompt it correctly, and also how to determine that the output is what you need, that it's accurate, that it's not biased. So durable skills and power skills, they've also been referred to as soft skills. So for folks wondering what that is, it's the skills beyond the tech. So when you're thinking about how do I teach a student how to not lose their voice when they're writing, but use AI as an assistant, that's going to require teaching them some durable skills in order for them to be able to, I don't want to get too much into what we're going to talk about in a minute, but think about their own thinking and be able to assess whether their voice is a part of their writing, or if it's too far or too much of the AI contributing to that. So those durable skills are just the ones that remain relevant, useful across various contexts and over time. And we'll get into 7 specific of those skills in just a few minutes. But I'm actually going to turn it back to you guys here in just a second. That we have here an AI literacy competency framework. And there's a lot of these floating around out there because I don't think we have an agreed upon standard AI literacy framework yet. This is still something pretty new. And everyone is trying to figure out, what does AI literacy mean? And I think that the basics, obviously, we think about the technical aspects. We think about the technology. Well, people need to know what machine learning is, and they need to understand where the data is coming from. And yes, that is very important, but we're finding that it's a little more dynamic than that. And so this model is from Paradox Learning, and there are 7 components here. But like I said, there's other frameworks out there. I would definitely take the time to look into that. But thinking about durable power skills, where do you guys think that would fit into AI literacy, or does it fit into AI literacy? Does it fit into one of these areas, or does it fit into all of these areas? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. Carrie Fry said many of the skills are the same as ever: time management, goal setting. Yes. And perhaps, it's going to bring more of a focus back to those basics again. I'm looking down at the bottom, and some folks are sharing their ideas about the AI literacy competency framework. Oh, you're muted, Christina. Mom.
Hey, sorry, I was reading that Nan thinks that all of them fit that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think depending on how you go about it, yeah, it could fit under all of it. There's going to be durable skills to make sure that you're using AI ethically. You're going to have to use durable skills in terms of the pedagogy that you use.
And Catherine, yeah, the answer to soft skills, yes, it's all interchangeable.
Mm-hmm. Critical thinking, absolutely.
And Roxanne says they'll need effective reading and writing skills, and definitely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Karen, I like that you said the ability to communicate clearly, because now that we're using, natural language in a lot of these AI tools are very accessible, but you still need to be able to communicate clearly what you're trying to say or what it is that you're looking for, and being able to go back and forth with an LLM, for example, to make sure that you're communicating clearly and having efficacy with that tool. The ability to ask the right question. Absolutely. Durable skills will still be vital for operating in the workplace. Definitely. And I think they're going to become even more important than they've always have been, because I think it will be easy to rely on the technology to do certain things, but it's not going to be as good or as good for humanity without us zooming out and utilizing our durable skills. So that's why we're passionate about durable skills. That's why we're here today presenting about this. And we agree. All of you have great points. Absolutely. Okay, so looking at the next screen here, so we also are really passionate about it because we holistically, I think all of us, especially a lot of the fears that you hear in conversations is worrying about AI becoming too powerful. And so, in order to have a human-led future, durable power skills will be very important. Those are what seem to separate humans from machines. That's what we have that differentiates us from machines. We can reflect in a way that machines can't. We can show empathy in a way that machines can't. And even though they can replicate that, so if you're interacting with an LLM, it may seem like they're empathetic because they've been trained on data and have the ability to replicate that, but they're not really empathetic. And so thinking about what is it that separates humans from machines, where is our value in that? So we think about the future of work and individuals, possibly their work being automated away. How can you separate yourself from that automation and bring value? What is your value? And so I think we really have to take that time to reflect and think about our human skills. And those skills can begin to be instilled before kids ever even touch a screen or AI. Because as we know, most AI tools aren't appropriate for younger children. However, they can start to develop these skills that will transfer as they get older and they're able to use those. The research tells us that there should be a balance between educational experiences with and without a screen anyways. So we found that through the research that being on screens can be linked to ADHD, it can be linked to anxiety and depression. And so providing other experiences for students to gain the skills that are going to be really important for the future is not only is it important because it's building those durable skills, but it's also important to get them off the screens, and engage in the world around them and have better brain health too. And
Ashlee,
you're
I
not
had
sure.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and I'm sorry. So an LLM, yes, it's a large language model. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, those are all large language models because you interact with them through language and they're trained on a lot of data that's based on language. So I use that term because there are other AI tools that have different capabilities that you might use as an educator. And a lot of them do have large language model embedded tools within them. But the information that you're getting back and forth from them is coming from that database. So Cordelia asked, how can they, when the push is towards using more AI, you need the screen to use it in the first place? You're absolutely right. Yes, there is a time and a place for them to use the screen. And there are ways to teach durable skills by using a screen and by using technology and by using AI. But that one thing that we wanted to focus on is that there is a way to teach beyond the tech and still teach those skills that can transfer. And I'll actually give some examples here in just a few minutes. But I did want to say that one of UNESCO's, which is the United Nations, guiding principles of AI in education is that we strive for AI to be human-led. And so if we can continue to have critical thinking and so on, I'll share the 7 that we were going to talk about today, then we can ensure that AI will be human-led. Okay, and there's kids right there doing something that's not on a screen. They're putting a puzzle together, but they're problem solving, they're communicating, they're collaborating, and those are going to be important skills working with AI. Okay, so durable skills of the future. So these are the 7 that we decided to focus on today. Cognitive process awareness, character, critical thinking, connections, creativity, communication, and curiosity. And I'll go through these briefly. We only have about 10 minutes, but we will go through these briefly. And yes, there are more. There are absolutely more durable skills. These are just the ones that we're going to be focusing on today. Gigi mentioned context, and you're absolutely right about that too. So the first one that we want to mention is cognitive process awareness. So being aware of how your brain works. we think this is really important because if you're aware of how your brain works and you're aware of how your brain learns, to include metacognition and the science of learning and attention, then you're able to set yourself up for success more when you're interacting with AI. So Jason Gulia, he was a part of the panel that spoke before this presentation, and he does a lot of this work. He focuses on the process. So he'll grade the student's process in conversation with AI rather than their product at the end. And so, and that really helps build metacognition, thinking about their own thinking. And kids, a lot of times, need help with that, and adults too. We need help sometimes to step out of our thoughts and think about what we're thinking, so that we can go through the right steps of our thought process to get to the goal that we're trying to reach. Okay, and then the next one we're going to talk about is character. So digital and in-person citizenship, and this is something that you can work on in person, and it transfers over to digital. So when you talk about integrity being you're the same person in every situation, regardless of whether somebody's, an adult is watching or an authoritative figure is there, that you're going to do the same thing whether they're there or not. And so that can transfer from in-person to online. So that's something that we want to instill. And digital and AI ethics, self-actualization as part of a greater good. So understanding your role in this huge world that we have, and that it's not just about going on and getting in the answer, but just the self-actualization that you are a part of something bigger. Critical thinking, clear, deep, productive thinking, able to evaluate facts from opinions, false information from true, bias from unbiased. So being able to reflect on that is really important, and people need to be taught how to do this. And this is something that we should be practicing on a regular basis. It's easy to just, okay, what's the answer? I'm going to go to my AI and ask, but maintaining that critical thinking and practicing that daily is really important. Being able to defend your stance using logical reasoning. Another common practice that we're starting to see with AI is debating with AI. And that helps improve your logical reasoning. And then whenever the AI comes back with something different, gives you something else to think about, it just improves that. Also, consumer power, that was also touched on during the panel earlier. Being able to think critically about yourself as a consumer. You're consuming a product that's gaining profit, right? So if it has too many biases in the data, if it doesn't have good consumer efficacy, or it's not giving you what you want to get out of it, you don't have to use it. And so maintaining that consumer power and understanding maybe what the agenda or what the what the values are of the folks who are managing that tool that you're using. Also being able to zoom out of a situation and reflect clearly about it. Connections. So connections, within connections, this sort of covers context and collaboration, in my opinion, because in human connection being at the root of that. Understanding your context within history, your context within the world, within culture, connections to your identity, social, emotional health. And something that's been getting popular for social emotional health is chatbots that help people who need somebody to talk to, don't have anybody to talk to. And I think that can be really useful, but I also think it's really important that we teach people that, it may be helpful, but that friction with humans is actually what forces us to grow. And so we don't want people to begin to prefer chatbots over people. So really working on that healthy collaboration with others in technology. And I'm seeing lots of great thoughts in the chat, so please keep that up and helping each other. That's great. Creativity. So again, I mentioned this earlier, learning to create value in an ever-changing economy, because we don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know what will be automated, what jobs will change. So self-reflecting and then getting creative about what can I bring to the table that's needed that a machine can't replicate. And that requires creativity. outside the box thinking for creating solutions to new problems because we don't know what those problems are going to be. So it's going to look different. So we need creative people. And that has to be nurtured. That has to be developed. You know, you have people who are more naturally creative than others, but creativity can be developed and it can be practiced. And also being able to leverage what resources are available to create something impactful is also going to be very important as the future moves on. Communication. So this goes down to foundational literacy skills. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Absolutely. My master's is in literacy, so I'm very passionate about this as well. I worry about the digital divide. Somebody mentioned that earlier. I hope that we're able to continue to build these skills up in everyone, so that there isn't anyone left behind or there isn't anyone who doesn't get as much from AI just because they lack in communication skills. So we want to help support that in every way that we can. Speaking and listening skills, healthy conflict resolution skills. Later on in that panel discussion that I played at the beginning from the air show, one of the panelists says humans are left to deal with the humans. After the AI, humans are left to deal with the humans. And so we still have to have that human ability to work together and figure out the best solutions. AI is not going to solve all of our problems for us, though it can be a great teammate. Curiosity, we want to continue to maintain a mindset of curiosity where we're always asking questions, we're always questioning the media. Somebody mentioned in the panel discussion media literacy, and that we always need to have a healthy skepticism of that. The same is true for AI. We should always be wondering what more could be or how a problem could better be solved, and maintaining that the future can always be better. So I think as fearful as some of us may feel at times, that hope is really important, and taking action within that hopeful stance and believing that the best can be yet to come by empowering ourselves and others to really take control and have agency over the future will be critical to making sure that AI continues to be human-led. Lastly, we just have about 1 or 2 minutes left. But if you guys could tell me, like I said, we could talk about this all day, and I've loved reading your feedback, but what durable skill resonates with you the most and why out of the 7 that we shared? But if you have another one that you like better or that you made you think of throughout the presentation, throw that in the chat too. Love to hear it. Catherine says cognitive process awareness, communication. Feel free to share your why too. What makes that stand out to you? Computational thinking, yes. Curiosity makes people want to learn. Yes, Gavin, it's the critical thinking piece and really emphasizing the evaluation of fact from false. Paula says cognitive process awareness. Cindy says critical thinking when AI gives an answer doesn't make sense. Yes. Catherine, metacognition, Cordelia, connections, because after machines are left, it's humans. Connections make us human, says Marilyn. David says elements of all of these are transferable across domains, and that's absolutely true, and what makes them even more important. Katrina, good job. Curiosity and critical thinking. All right, so it is now 4:29. Thank you guys so much. I have a few resources linked here. I had some folks asking for some resources during the presentation. And I'm sorry, I don't know if my screen, there we go. So we have, if you go to paradoxlearning.com, there's some information about AI literacy. That framework that we had in the beginning is there. Some guiding principles from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Culture Organization. There's a lot of resources on there that could be useful. Someone asked specifically about librarians. And I know we have a lot of folks in here that do that. So UNESCO.org would be a great place to check out. And then the air show video resources. If you go to that link there, there's a video library, and that would be a good thing to check out as well for some more information. But if you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Catherine says we'll have access to these in the conference website archive. I believe so. I know you'll have access to the recordings. So you could always go to the recordings and then just go to the end and check this out if they're not linked anywhere. Thank you, Tab Zero. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you all for your participation. I really appreciate y'all blowing up the chat. That was great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Eunice. Thank you, Beatrice and Marilyn. Have a great day, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your day.